So I know people my age want to know what hit the moment for you to go, I need to do something about this. Like, what was that real moment for you?
When I hit rock bottom, now I had been struggling for a while, and what I like to say is every phase of my life, I was struggling with my body. My clothes weren't fitting anymore. I was gaining weight. I was having really negative thoughts. I was becoming antisocial. I wasn't motivated in my career. I was literally sleeping till 9 a.m. for my job that started at 9 a.m. And I was just struggling across the board. And the moment that everything changed for me was I had been having these really horrible, dark thoughts that I had never experienced in my entire life. I had never struggled with anxiety until this point. I'd never struggled with depression until this point. And it made me realize that my sisters who have struggled with their mental health might have had similar thoughts to what I was having. And that was the moment that really terrified me and made me realize that as a sister, I can help them. And there's things that I could learn and I could do. And now that I experienced their, what I thought was thoughts that they could be having, that was my motivation to then start learning how to change my life so that I can in turn help them. And looking back on that, it's so interesting because I really struggled with self-love and finding worth and my own value. And it was easy for me to be motivated to help my sisters opposed to helping myself.
Yeah, I can hear it. The extrinsic piece was coming in.
Yes. And I think about that and I'm like, it's so crazy that I'm in such a dark spot that I couldn't do it for myself, but I could do it for them. And I think that sometimes I use that to my advantage now where I'm like, when I started doing affirmations, changing the ways that I thought about myself and my body and my abilities in my career, I did the same thing. And I was like, you know what would I want my sisters to say about themselves? What would I want my brother to say, my best friends? And I pretended like I was talking to myself, though I was thinking of them. Like, okay, I want them to say, I'm kind, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm hardworking, I'm great at public speaking, I'm great at this, I'm a great friend. And it made it easier for me to open that pathway to start thinking those things about myself. It was almost like a little cheat code because I couldn't get myself to do it on my own.
Bigger than you.
Yeah, but I could when I had them as my vision.
Beautiful. Well, take me back. So when you're in this dark place, you're at your hit rock bottom. Where are you? Like, what environment are you in? How old are you? Like, what time period was this?
I'm in my parents' basement, in my bedroom. I am 24 years old.
Okay.
And I had graduated from college, was struggling, like, getting into the work world and feeling like I didn't have enough money that I could survive on my own and I'd be in my parents' basement forever. I was struggling in an unhealthy relationship. I was in this place where I'd always been physically fit, social. I'd never struggled before until that moment when it was almost like I felt like everything was piling up and I didn't know. I didn't have coping mechanisms. I didn't understand how to take care of myself. I didn't know that I was the only one that could change my life. I couldn't rely on my parents to pay for me. I couldn't rely on my parents to clean my room. Well, obviously they never did that, but I couldn't rely on anyone else to come and save me and help me create the life that I wanted. And I was so blessed growing up. I'm one of 6 kids. My dad worked anywhere from 3 jobs at a time consistently so that my mom, who gave birth to 6 kids, which is crazy, couldn't raise us. And then she turned around and built this incredible career for herself once my brother went to middle school. At that time, I was out of the house, but I was raised with this beautiful life that I was getting from someone who was working both parents who were working so hard, but I didn't necessarily have to struggle or work hard. And so I think there was a lot of factors that kind of piled up on me. And on top of that, just other factors of, not liking my body, gaining weight, being mean to myself, not understanding self-talk and the importance, not trying to work on myself in other areas. So that's kind of where I was at that time frame. And now I'm out of my parents' basement, which is awesome and so nice because
you just bought a new house.
Yeah, I just bought my dream house. It's actually my second house. I own 2 properties, which is insane. My other house just got rented out. I'm so happy. And the people living there are so nice, but I just bought my dream house. I'm able to furnish it with things that just are so beautiful to me. I'm able to have people over for different events. We host everything, and it really makes me so happy having a place where people feel like they can come and hang out. And it's also so cool knowing that I bought that house for myself. I worked so hard in all areas of my life.
I earned it.
And it's so
sweeter, isn't it?
Yeah, and I love being there. I'm like, I love being at my house now. Probably too much.
So I think your mom showed me a picture of there was a wine bar that's see-through. It's transparent.
Yeah.
So it's like a
crazy.
wall.
I actually hate wine.
Oh, you do?
So I'm not a big drinker at all. I'm always off in house. It's blown me. So the people before me were the builder of the house lived there, and he built this insane wine wall. It's like cooled on the inside. It has its own air conditioning unit. and it sees through to the family room. And when I moved in, I was like, oh, we should probably knock that down. I'm like, oh, it's fine. And my mom was like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
And so it's so funny now. There's just this beautiful wine wall in our house, but it's kind of nice because since I don't really drink wine, it really is like a beautiful art decoration to be. Yeah. When we move, I'm like, what are we gonna do with all that wine?
You're going to probably sell it or bring it or give it to mom.
Yes.
Yeah, you're like forevermore the wine mall. Okay, so do you think coming from college, because here you are independent at college, were you in a sorority?
Yes.
Okay, so you've got girlfriends, you're hanging out, everything's great. You come home. Do you think it was the lack of structure and this kind of where am I going next that caused the trigger for you to go, uh-oh?
I think that is a good point. I did have more structure when I was in college because I enjoyed my majors. I was a broadcast journalism and criminal justice major, and I loved going to classes. So I had structure of my classes. I was also on the cheerleading team at MSU, so I had that consistent workout. I had that community of people who wanted the same thing as me. I lived in a house with 14 girls, which was insane, which actually wasn't our sorority house. It was just like a crazy living environment. So I always had people around me. I always had people to hang out with, and I did have a job, but I also was so lucky that my parents helped me with my bills. So I wasn't on my own completely at that point. And so I think that the structure was so incredible. But I think now looking back, when you have a big life event happen, like graduating college, getting sick, maybe a loved one passing away, having a child, getting a new job, it throws off your entire world because you've never been in that environment or that situation. And I think coming out of college, being completely on my own, kind of being confused, not feeling passionate about what I was doing for work, not having that social life, be out of structure, not having anyone that wanted to go work out with me every day, like with my friends for cheer. It was just every area of my life felt like it was uprooted. And I didn't know at the time that I had the power to create a new life for myself, create new routines, find those new things that make me feel so happy. And I think that's why I started getting stuck and getting lower and lower and lower until I hit that rock bottom moment.
Yeah, I'm hearing, so it sounds like an identity shift, right? Where you change you're like, who am I without these things I'm used to, right? This was my life. This is who I was in that place, in that environment with those people. That's all gone. Now who am I? It was like a reinvention. So let's talk about that reinvention. So you go from rock bottom, and how did you stumble across the habit loops and the habit stacking and moving towards saying, I know I've got the power to be empowered to do that?
So my first step in trying to help myself and in turn help my siblings was I was sitting in my bed and I remember I was like, where do I even start? I'd look on social media and I'd get so upset because people were already there. People were already living that dream life. And I'm like, that's where I want to be, but no one's telling me how to actually get there. So I'm like, okay, people who are really smart write books. Like there are like scientists and just like incredible people who take the time to write a book. And I also was a journalism major previously. So I loved writing and I loved appreciating people's writing.
Yeah.
So I think that led me to say, you know what, I'm just going to find a book. And I looked on Google and for some reason I chose The Power of Habit. And I say God was with me right there and said, this is actually the book that you're going to read. And that book completely shifted every area of my life because I learned about the habit loop. And the habit loop, it wasn't, to me, why it was so powerful was because it wasn't someone saying, get up and do this and go work out and do this for yourself and you'll change your life. It was saying, hey, if you do these steps, you will change your life. And I found, yes, and I love that structure. And I found that I needed someone to teach me. I needed someone to show me. I knew what I wanted to do and I knew what would make me feel better, but I didn't know how to do it.
Right.
And so that book taught me the framework that I really base my entire life around right now. It taught me habits for not only my physical health, but mental health, how to create coping mechanisms, but it also taught me habits for just relationships, boundaries, career focused. And it ultimately led me to the career that I have now today that I am so incredibly grateful for and so passionate about.
Yeah. And it's incredible to watch, truly. Okay. So take us back to the bad relationship. If you were to talk to any girl coming out of college or even guy coming out of college and they're in the same situation as you, their structure's gone, their identities kind of mishapped for a moment because they don't know how to recreate now the next chapter, what would you say to them to say, hey, drop it all and get going?
I would say, so when I was in an unhealthy relationship, I knew it, but everything else around me felt like it was crumbling. And I was like, I don't think that I can handle this on how, but and then my social life is actually extinct. And I just wasn't ready to feel even worse than I'd already felt. But what helped me make that shift to realize that that relationship was no longer good for me and I needed to let it go to improve and become the person that I knew I needed to become was actually a book called The 5 a.m. Club, which I recommend today. It's
Yeah.
awesome. And in this book, there's a small little chapter that talks about the 4 quadrants. And so in the 4 quadrants, they account for 25% each quadrant, and then they add up to 100. And your goal is to improve in each quadrant so that you can reach your full potential of 100%. The 4 quadrants are your heart set, your soul set, your health set, and your mindset. And I was sitting and kind of grading myself, and I'm like, okay, I want to be the best version of myself. How can I get there? And I already knew this relationship was unhealthy and it was really, really bad for me and it was holding me stuck. And so when I was looking, I'm like, you know what, my health said, I started to create little habits around, I think I'm getting better. Like, I'm not great, but I'm definitely going to get to a great place in 6 months. My mindset, I was working on affirmations, I was working on meditations, I was working on reading books that helped me. I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm coming up there too. My soul set, I'm like, okay, I'm doing meditations, I'm finding relationships with friends, or I'm investing at these things of it, and I feel like I'm doing good there too. And then I got to my heart set, and I was like, this category, I'm basically at 0, horrible spot.
Yeah.
And I will never be able to reach my potential in that area if I do not move on and move forward and trust that this is the right decision for me. And actually, one thing that I did that I recommend for anyone that's going through a breakup, a friendship breakup, trying to move forward in their life so that they can improve and really invest the time, energy, and effort that they need to in themselves, is that I suggest anyone writes out in a journal or in your phone app, or just makes a list of reasons why you need to mourn and move on. Nothing bad about the person, nothing bad about the relationship, focused on you, saying things like, I deserve to be happy, I deserve to be encouraged, I cannot become the person I'm meant to be while I'm stuck in the situation, I deserve to grow. I would write things like, I will not let the feelings of pain, anger, jealousy, or rage derail me from my purpose, because I knew I had a purpose and I knew that my purpose was to help others. I said, I'm choosing kindness, I'm choosing happiness, I'm choosing to move forward. And then I would read that list every single day, anytime that I had a negative thought about that relationship or that person, or something reminded me of them, or someone brought that up. I would read that list over and over so that I could actually choose how I was going to think about that situation. And I think even if you're not going through a breakup, it's really great to write out a list so that you can choose your thoughts. Because what's crazy is we have a lot of negative thoughts in life. We're saying we're struggling with, you just had a baby and we gained weight, which very, very normal. And like, you deserve to love your body for what it's doing for you. And it's so incredible and encouraging. But say you're in a position like that, or say, you're suffering from hair loss, or you're just not feeling like yourself, and then you start having negative thoughts. You're tweeting about me right now. I'm just kidding. You can create like negative thought patterns, which is so crazy. So I realized that I had a negative thought pattern that anytime that I looked in the mirror, I would say, okay, my teeth are horrible, my body looks horrible, I look fat, I look ugly. And I created a habit. So anytime I looked in the mirror, I had those exact same thoughts on repeat. And then what I realized is that if I started telling myself, I'm beautiful, I'm healthy, I'm proud of my body, I love my body, and I wrote those down and read them over and over every single day, I write that down. Or if I continue to say that anytime that I recognize that bad habit, I could change how I felt about myself. So I think whether you're in a tough spot with a breakup, you're in a tough spot with your career, your marriage, wherever you're struggling right now, looking at your thoughts around the situation and understanding, okay, can I get out of this situation? What's my next steps here? But also, can I work on the thoughts that I'm having and start focusing on myself and rewiring maybe those negative thought patterns that I created?
I love that. I love the exercise of like, hey, go to the moment where you take the name out, the person out, and you just describe what you like or don't like or want. I call it the partner activity. I have people do the same thing when it comes to partners. Like, what is a partner to me? Don't name the partner. Don't talk about your current partner, but actually go down a list of like, what is a partner to me? Because there's like, love, and lust, and not all of a categorized partner in that. And so you have to get clear, which is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
Get crystal clear, and then it all falls into place with the system. Love that.
I love that.
Yeah, too. That's amazing. Okay, so last question here as we round out. As you look forward into your future, what's coming next?
So I have been able to build just the most incredible community online of people who were in the position that I was in, that want to improve their life, but they might not know how. I'm that in-between person where I teach them the steps. And what's so beautiful is that I've done it, I've completely changed my life. So I'm able to say, here is the point that I've had, and you can get here. You deserve to get here, and you will get here. Here is how you're going to do it. So I've loved being able to grow my online community. I think I have 1.5 million followers on TikTok. I think I have 230 something thousand on Instagram. I have a podcast that's in the top 0.5% globally. And
Incredible.
I am getting my message out there. I'm helping people change their life. I have a business where I sell physical products. I sell a habit tracker, an affirmation and gratitude journal. I just came out with, well, that I'm released yet, but I have affirmation and gratitude affirmation cards you can read every day. I also have one coming out for moms, specifically inspired by my sister when she became a mom, and then also for kids inspired by my nephew. And so right now I'm growing out this business. I'm growing out my online community. I've also taught in the past a 6-week course on how to change your habits and routines, which was like the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. I loved it. I'm basically working right now to create it to be downloadable so that anyone can have it. Because I have people in my class that were, it was 3 a.m. in a different country, and they were on the call that was at 5 p.m. my time. And that's so cool. But I wanted it to be more accessible to anyone that wanted to take it based on, say you're a mom and your schedule doesn't allow you to do the class times I'm teaching live. And so I'm building that out. I also am becoming a co-owner of another company I can't talk about it yet, but I'm becoming the co-owner. The contracts are going through this week, which is awesome.
Okay.
I love business, and I love that the business that I'm in is continuing to just help people improve their mental health or physical health. So really, that's all it's on my agenda right now. But I've been writing a book for 2 years. I have 700 pages written. I'm like, this is a long book.
Music.
That's actually the stack. Yeah. I'm like, wait, how long is the Bible? Because that's so I've been reading my book for forever. And so there's so many things. I just think that I can accomplish anything and achieve anything because of my habits, routines, the way that I set myself up for success.
Incredible. Thank you. Last question we ask everyone on the ThriveWell podcast is, it is our philosophy that thriving like a flash in the pan is easy to do for just about any of us. We have access to everything that gives us this 1, 2, 3 steps. ThriveWell is based on the fact of maintaining that thrive vibe. So how do you say ThriveWell fits into your life?
I think really in every regard, everything that I do is for the long-term investment of what I want and what my goal is. So I think that that's a perfect way to explain it, is that really every day I'm thinking of that as an old message, as how can I continue to improve my life? What am I doing now for the long term? And I know that each day that I get better and I improve and I grow, it's really all adding up to help me become who I'm supposed to be and follow my purpose and my passion.
So the progress.
Yes.
That's it.
I
Just
love
the
the progress. I love the journey. I always tell people the journey is way better than the end.
Yes.
It's because you could, but I also started my sex habits journey. One of my main goals was losing weight because I thought I'd feel better if I fit into my clothes. I thought I'd feel better if I was skinnier. I thought all these things. And what I realized from starting the habit of working out was that that wasn't my goal anymore. My goal was I wanted to feel healthy. My goal was I wanted to feel happy. I wanted to be able to run and play with my nephew and feel good in my body and do these things. So it's so cool when you go on the journey and you might start somewhere and you're like, well, I'm continuing to grow and whoop, I've changed paths completely, but it's taking you to where you're meant to be.
Exactly. It's all about the life in between. So yes, right? Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Appreciate that.